was my little brother, and we were always good buddies. We were 3 years apart. I was older than him, so he was a little brother to 3 older siblings. All of us siblings were very, very close, and we still are. When he came down with colon cancer, of course the whole family was strong. He was definitely a strong fighter, and nothing was going to bring him down. He was fighting it the whole way, and he did, and he wanted to do for others as much as he could, even though he was in the shape he was in. He just inspired all of us. We had, the year before he was diagnosed, our oldest sister had been diagnosed with some melanoma, and she went through some surgery and had treatments for a year, and is thankfully fine now. And then he was diagnosed the next year, and I believe it was the year after that, we had a sister-in-law that was diagnosed with breast cancer. And then her daughter-in-law come down with breast cancer a few months later. So our family had quite a bit of craziness going on. But through all of this, no matter how sick Bruce might have been with his treatments, or maybe how discouraged he was, he would pick himself up. He wouldn't let that bother him. And all of the others that were going through treatments, he was there to encourage them. And he was just a big support for them. But it helped him too he had many, many people to love him. And, everybody stayed positive for him because he didn't want to hear anything negative. So he was a great inspirator and just a great little brother. Even though he was my little brother, I looked up to him, so yeah.
Bruce was my dad, and piggybacking off of what Wanda just said, it's hard because, you want your dad to be like not hurt, like the strongest guy you'll ever know. And so it's hard seeing him sick with treatment and, down on his luck, but then he always was positive through it and just made sure that we knew that he was gonna beat it.
Bruce spent 10 years trying to get on the fire department in Jeffersonville, Indiana. He had to go into HR once a month for those 10 years. So his never give up attitude was there to get into the fire service, which is what he always wanted to do. It's what his dad did. It's what his uncle did, what his cousin did. So he had a never give up attitude. He loved the firefighters, the guys that were out there every day. He loved to train them. They looked up to him. I talked to a firefighter the other day, a younger one, who basically said that Bruce was his person. If he wanted solid advice, honest advice, he went to Bruce because he knew he would get it. He was also the biggest goof you can imagine. He made us laugh all the time, and I think that's what we miss most. I mean, laugh all the time. The stuff that came out of his mouth was just hilarious. And this man right here, who just recently went into the fire service, I know very much looked up to him. I don't know if you have any stories you can share. Just being able to go to him.
Yeah.
Firefighter to firefighter.
Yeah, that's probably the thing him and I could relate to most, was just talking about different stories. And if I had a bad run, I could always lean on him and talk to him about something, because he's been in it longer than I have. So, yeah, that was probably the most relatable thing to is that just the fire service. So
he was my dad, so he was our dad, so he picked us up for everything at school, and you know, we didn't play sports, but everything we had at school he picked us up for. So every time, apparently the firefighters told us he would be at a meeting or like, I don't know, working, and then all of a sudden he would just tell his coworkers, gotta go. He would have to come pick us up.
And that tagline, gotta go, everybody knew it was Bruce's, and he knew, everybody knew when he said gotta go, these two right here is where he was going.
So I'm the oldest. So Bruce, my dad, he was my best friend for, I'm now 25, so 24 years. So obviously the cancer diagnosis was super devastating. None of us saw it coming, but like everybody else said, he's always super positive till he took his very last breath. He knew where he was going, and he was always there for all of us anytime we needed anything. Especially Tori and I, at a drop of a hat, he was there, and that's what I loved about him most. Anytime we needed anything, he was always there.
At the cemetery on the 1 year anniversary, the firefighters had us all meet up there to toast him. And his captain volunteered a story about when Bruce was learning to drive the fire apparatus for the first time. And I think they were in like a Burger King parking lot or something. And they had the orange cones out and everything, and he was learning how to back it up and all that. Well, he apparently backed into a pole or something. And so the captain had to contact the deputy chief, who was also at the cemetery that day, and they were just shaking their heads just because it's just something Bruce would do, and they were just like, oh God, we're gonna have to tell the chief now. And so we didn't know about that because Bruce was a mother trucker, as we called him. Would never have backed into anything.
As a big brother, he was a special guy, but we loved sports. Growing up, from baseball, basketball, whatever it took. We spent a lot of times watching Cincinnati Reds, and no matter how bad they were, but we still loved it. Played baseball, played basketball growing up. Of course, as the older brother, I tried to be the role model and the mentor. And little did I know that he turned out to be my hero. He taught me a lot, especially towards the end. But that helped being from a strong family, a good family background, and fire service is what he was made for. He loved helping people, and that's what got his thrill, whatever it took to make things better. And I saw that during the funeral. He had visitors from all over the state, firefighters that would come up to me, introduce herself, but he touched so many people in ways that he didn't even realize. Whether he met them one time or, a few times with conversation, he made a difference. And I know that's what he meant to do.
I've never seen 4 closer siblings in my life, ever. And the siblings as close as they were, these two right here, the role of dad, no one does it better. No one did it better.
That's right. As a husband, a father,
Yes.
and a brother, he was special.
He was my home. My home is not my home. Bruce is my home.
Mm-hmm.
But we'd pull up to the gas station and there'd be a homeless guy kind of wandering around, and he never wanted to give them money, but he would buy them a coffee, buy them all the food they wanted. And he did it on a regular basis. And he didn't have to tell anybody about it. I saw it because I was with him a couple times, but he did it all the time. He would be driving around the city and see, like a disabled elderly man trying to mow their lawn, and he would just park his truck and get out and take care of it and on with his day, it was just constantly. So, he was the best.
Yeah, he grew up seeing our dad
Yes.
help a lot of people, and it definitely related to him in the older days. Our dad always told both of us, all four of us, to be sure if you, once you choose your decision on what kind of work you want to do when you get older, be sure and pick something that you're going to enjoy, because if it's your dream, then it's not going to be work. It's going to be your life. And that's exactly what he was able to accomplish. He got his dream job, and he made the best of it. And I definitely was blessed to have him for 53 years.
We're painting a picture of an angel, which he is in our eyes, but some of the funnier things, the girls can chime in here, or anybody, that he did. When you drive to a fire or in a medical run, you're, for 20 years straight, when you're driving to Walmart or Meijer, you're doing the same thing. So he would, bust through traffic, and very impatient with with traffic, and just, it was
Which
comical.
I inherited.
Comical to
I think
watch.
we both did.
It was like late November-ish 21 where he started to go downhill and started to lose the ability to walk, like late December. So we went into the hospital and spent 26 days there. And he still, didn't give up, but another conversation. When he was finally told that he had weeks to months, he had escort home from, we were in Louisville, we live in Indiana. Police, fire, EMS escorted the ambulance home. And for 4 days, our home was opened, and every firefighter in that department, whether they were current or retired, came through our front doors. The Jeffersonville Fire Department showed up 24/7 for us in a time of need. Absolutely. And it was literally a living wake. It was the saddest but most beautiful time. We had the former chief who knew him since he was 8 years old. We had a firefighter who happened to be an RN. Hospice failed us out the door. An RN and a paramedic spent 24 hours a day for those 4 days and helped us care for him, send him out pain-free. So yes, they absolutely were there for us. As soon as he passed, a flag was laid over him, and another, I think every fire apparatus in town, every command vehicle took him to the funeral home. The firefighters signed up for shifts and stayed with his body 24/7, which he was buried, 10 days later?
Yes.
Just due to the way things fell. They were fighting each other over those shifts to stand guard at his body.
And also at the same time checking on you guys to make
Yeah.
sure they
Oh yeah, we had
had everything
food
they
delivered
needed.
every day.
Might I add, during an ice storm?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So the dedication was definitely there.
I want to make sure the world knows that Dad was the best dad in the entire world. He dropped everything for me and my sister Tori.
I want to make sure the world knows that how dedicated he was to making sure other firefighters don't end up with colon cancer. Obviously, he got diagnosed at 49, and that's because insurance wouldn't cover a colonoscopy till he was 50 in Indiana. So he partnered up with the state representative of Indiana and got the bill changed to 45 for insurance to cover colonoscopies in Indiana.
I just want everybody to know and remember him by just the hard work he went into to make his fire family safer than they've been with all the precautions they are now taking. He was always, like they say, and we've all said, he was always taking care of someone. He had such a big heart, but we just miss him because he was just a big goofball, and he always had to aggravate us in some way. Always. But we love that. That was just him, so.
Definitely the best brother that I could ask for. His dedication to especially his young firefighters, like they said, he was going to make sure they had a better life better equipment. And that's what I call dedication to a career and not just a job, because he absolutely loved it. 2 words describe him: humble and kind. There's no doubt about it.
I'd say he's probably the most genuine person I've ever came in contact with, and definitely someone I could look up to and to be a good role model as a younger fireman and a younger person. Some traits that I would love to have.
I want everyone to know that he was the best spouse, he was the best husband. He spoiled me rotten every single day, and he was the most honest firefighter. He was the most honest deputy chief, and he was my home.
Here's to you, with that smile on your face. Here's to you, and what I won't raise to this moment we share, to the love